love me. Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.
ఓం శ్రీమాత్రే నమః. ఓం గంగణపతయే నమః. Religion is realization. Today I am going to discuss on this topic. Prayer. Kailasavasi kavachi katora tripurantakaha vrushanko vrushabharudho Basmodulita vigraha. Religion does not consist in doctrines or dogmas. It is not what you read, nor what dogmas you believe in, but what you realize. No great master ever taught that external forms were necessary for salvation, liberation, moksha. The power of attaining it is within us. We live and move in God. Books never make religions, but religions make books. No book ever created God, but God inspired great books. No book ever created a soul. The end of the religion is in realizing God in the soul. The one universal truth in all religions is to realize God. Ideas and methods may differ, but that is the central point. There may be 1,000 different radii, but they all converge to the one center, and that is the realization of God. Something behind this world of sense, this world of eternal eating and drinking and talking nonsense, this world of false shadows and selfishness. A man may have never entered a church or mosque nor performed any religious ceremony, but if he feels God within and he is thereby lifted above the vanities of the world, that man is a holy man. You will get the realization if you do, and then you will be truly religious. Until you have attained realization, there is no difference between you and atheists. The atheists are sincere, but the man who says that he believes in religion never attempts to realize it is not sincere. The chief thing is to want God. We want everything except God because our ordinary wants are supplied by the external world. It is only when our necessities have gone beyond the external world that we want a supply from the internal, from God. So long as our needs are confined within these narrow limits of this physical universe, we cannot have any need for God. It is only when we become satiated with everything here that we look beyond for a supply. It is only when the need is there that the demand will come. Have done with the child's play of the world as soon as you can, and then you will feel the necessity of something beyond the world, and the first step in religion will come. We are all of us babies here. We may be old and have studied all the books in the universe, but we are all spiritual babies. We have learnt the doctrines and dogmas but realized nothing in our lives. Religion begins with a tremendous dissatisfaction with the present state of things, with our lives, and a hatred, an intense hatred for this patching of life, an unbounded disgust for fraud and lies. Death is better than a vegetating ignorant life. It is better to die on the battlefield than to live a life of defeat. This is a basis of religion. When a man takes this stand, he is on the way to find the truth. He is on the way to God. This determination must be the first impulse towards becoming religious. I will hew out a way for myself. I will know the truth or give up my life in the attempt. For on this side, it is nothing. It is gone. It is vanishing every day. On the other, there are the great charms of conquest, victories over all ills of life, victory over life itself, the conquest of the universe. On that side, men can stand. My master used to say, the vulture rises higher until it becomes a speck, but his eye is always on the piece of rotten carrion on the earth. After all, what is the result of your ideas of religion? Go beyond that if you dare. Go beyond law. Let the universe vanish and stand alone. As my master used to say, what would you think of men who went into mango orchard and busied themselves in counting the leaves and examining the color of the leaves, the size of the twigs, the number of branches, and so forth, while only one of them had the sense to begin to eat the mangoes? So leave this counting the leaves and the twigs and this note taking to others. That work has its own value in its proper place, but not here in the spiritual realm. Man never becomes spiritual through such work. You have never seen a strong spiritual man among these leaf counters. Religion is the highest aim of man, the highest glory, but it does not require leaf counting. If you want to be a Christian, it is not necessary to know whether Christ was born in Jerusalem or Bethlehem, or just the exact date on which he pronounced the Sermon on the Mount. You only require to feel Sermon on the Mount. All this is for the enjoyment of the learned. Let them have it, say Amen to that. Religions of the world have become lifeless mockeries. What the world wants in character, the world is in need for those whose life is one burning love, selfless. That love will make every word tell like thunderbolt. Early rishis of each religion has not read the other books because there were no books at that point of time. But still they invented the right way of living. They have experimented upon themselves, taking their body as a living laboratory. They were great scientists. They had researched everything through their own bodies. and effect on each thing on it. They propounded great laws of rightful living. Books have come at a very later stage. Everybody has his laboratory with him. The capacity to find he can experience it just by going inside. All he has given the way to lead the life in a rightful manner. It has come out in the form of Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Bible, Guru Granth Sahib. These great scriptures tells us the ways to lead a life, but this has been realized from inside. Crux is to visit inside. When we sit with ourselves quiet and calm, just being an observer to self, meditation happens. Love, satisfaction, contentment, bliss, and state of ecstasy is the product of meditation. By its regular practice, one can stay in that state forever. One does not require any worldly things for this inner state. As one goes inside, the low cravings for praise, greed for money, higher statues, says longing for sex, which has been said as kama, krodha, and lobha, automatically goes to take rest. One does nothing for its except for going inside with closed eyes under the direction of realized soul. A guru who is self aware, who has gone through this process, he says that it is already available with everybody in the form of his own soul. One just needs to go to his own soul under the guidance of a guru. Everyone has a capacity to realize himself. There is no need for the guilt feeling even if one has gone wrong in past, because it is the body and mind which has gone through it. The soul remained untouched. Meditation is a route to realization. All religions have emerged from realization. Self realization, a phrase commonly used today, implies many things that are very attractive, expansive horizons for personal growth. Freedom from institutional and dogmatic constraints, direct personal experience of truth and of God. Self realization is the knowing in all parts of body, mind, and soul that you are now in possession of the kingdom of God. That you do not have to pray that it come to you. The God's omnipresence is your omnipresence, and that all you need to do is improve your knowing. Self realization is not ego worship. How? Let us go in detail. You may find a contradiction between the idea of self realization and the idea of worshipping God. A college student once asked Yogananda this very question. I am intrigued by the concept of self realization. However, I don't see how you tie it in with worship. Surely it is not your teaching that we should worship ourselves. But is not that what everyone does? asked Paramahamsa Yogananda with a humorous smile. That is the very essence of delusion. To idolize the ego, to pour out libations to it, pamper it, sing praises to it. Worship means to seek identity with the object of one's concentration. And the path of self realization, the devotee seeks to transfer his identity from little ego to the infinite self. Philosophically, then it is valid to worship that greater self. This is a difficult concept, however, for the human mind to grasp. One may affirm, I am infinite. But without humility and devotion, one slips all too easily into the error of thinking, I. In my exceptional greatness, I am one with infinity. All are manifestation of the divine self. For this reason, it is better until one is highly advanced spiritually not to think of God as I, but to address Him as thou. It is also more natural to think in this way. After all, as human beings, we see others as separate from ourselves. Even though, spiritual speaking, all are manifestations of the one divine self, and I and you. Relationship with God is simpler and less confusing. It is also much more satisfying to the human mind. And it is a relationship that God recognizes. The Lord responds to sincere devotion from His human children, never to proud self-affirmation. Truth is essential. Self-realization has come to unite all religions. Considering that Yogananda founded an organization called Self-Realization Fellowship, one might think of this as a typical dogmatic assertion. My way is right, and soon all of you will agree. But such a point of view is inconsistent, in fact absurd, in the context of Yogananda's broad universal view of spiritual truth. His autobiography is a virtual textbook for the movement away from dogmatism into a more experiential basis for spiritual life. Theological explanation addresses the intellect but not the soul. The truths underlying religion are eternal. They cannot be invented. From their source in the realization of God enlightened masters, they become diluted by their contact with unenlightened human beings. That's why God from time to time sends His awakened sons back to earth to revive the spirit of religion and to return the timeless teachings to their pristine purity. There will always be differences of emphasis according to the varying needs of the times. The fundamental truths, however, remain forever the same. The fundamental reality, divine love. The deepest truths of religion are all of them quite simple. They have been obscured by the outer structures of religion, which have become to so complex in religion's struggle against multiplicity of challenges as to create confusion and divisiveness, not clarity. Of all the institutions of mankind, religion ought to be the most unitive. Yet people find, persecute one another, and go to war over their religious differences, all these in the name of God, who so all of them claim is a God of love. It's a time again to explore man's inner relationship with his Creator. It is time again to explore man's inner relationship with his Creator. According to every saint who has experienced this sublime awakening, God is simple, man is complex. The demands of truth are that religion become simple once again. Religion must return to the fundamental reality, divine love. Divine work is living and expressing divine love. Way showers on the path of self realization. Religious groups and ministers of religion should work to develop a more scientific outlook. Their commitment should be to expanding their understanding of the truth, not to protecting their already formulated definitions of it. They should reason as scientists do, impartially. As scientists test their hypotheses regarding material realities. So, religionists should test their beliefs. How? By psychological and spiritual experimentation. They should try to demonstrate how spiritual laws, such as faith and charity, actually work in human lives. Instead of peddling untested dogmas and urging people to believe, the church should convert their premises into universities of living, where experiments are conducted on how to find the true fulfillment in life that all people seek. It is a time religionists everywhere, Protestants, Catholics, Jews, Buddhists, Shintoists, Muslims, Jains, Zoroastrians, Hindus, ceased wanting the superior merits of their own creeds and holy writ. Science has conditioned people to resist having their minds stuffed with dogmas. It is time that religious leaders nourished people, the young especially, with inwardly stimulating discoveries of universal wisdom. Religionists should pool their discoveries just as scientists do. The different religions in the world today do good, of course, in reminding people of their need to live more in the consciousness of God and of goodness and truth. If the churches would be of real service to humanity, however, they must offer people practical spiritual training for achieving those ends. Instead of gathering in God's name theoretically, people need to come together with the firm purpose of invoking His living presence in the temple of meditation. Those who do so will find themselves actually experiencing the blessing of divine presence. Religious teachers should cease concentrating on the outward forms of religion. They should cease being sect makers and dogma builders. Instead, they should become soul awakeners, way showers on the path to self realization. They should seek to become open conducts for universal truth instead of holding people by insisting on the superiority of their own teachings and system of belief. They should inspire in each member the desire to strive toward his own self realization in God. Many years ago, talked of the Vedas, Bible, Quran, and other revealed books. At the close of the day, a certain sage picked up a book that was on the table. It contained forecast of rainfall during the year. Religion can be realized. Religion consists in the endeavor of men to cultivate and express those qualities which are inherent in the nature of man, the eternal, and to have faith in him. We begin our history with all the original promptings of our brute nature, which help us to fulfill those vital needs of ours that are immediate. Therefore, we have to go through the preachings of ancient sages. They showed so many paths to find out our self realization. Therefore, we used to say, Yesha Pantaha Maharshayaha. But deeper within us, there is a current of tendencies which runs in many ways in a contrary direction. The life current of universal humanity. Religion has its function in reconciling the contradiction by subordinating the brute nature to what we consider as the truth of man. The goal of religion is to lead us to truth. Then only it has its worthiness. It possesses its worthiness. That God is not some alien entity who resides only in temples, churches, or mosques, nor does he resides in a separate heaven far above the clouds, but that is immanent in this universe. He is in everything because he is an omniscient, omnipresent. It is he who manifests as both the material universe called stars, galaxies, and planets, and consciousness. We may climb the highest mountain and God still be there. Why? Because He is within us. He is in our very souls. The only way to realize God is by expanding our consciousness, by increasing our awareness to His presence in all His creation, by extending ourselves in love, harmony, and service, by overcoming our base instinct of greed and exploitation, and cultivating an attitude of caretaking for God's most wonderful creation. Basing on this, we should treat all the beings are equal way. We should not show partiality. So, श्रियकान्ताय कल्याणनदेनदे दिनां श्रीवेङ्कटनिवासाय श्रीनिवासाय मङ्गलं मङ्गलाशासनपरैर्मदाचार्य पुरोगमैः सर्वैष पूर्वैराचार्यै सत्कृतायास्तु मङ्गलम्.